Yep, let's go.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So welcome. So this is Sahil, and we are going to start with our third session on Flutter, which is building your first Flutter app. So earlier we have gone through the basics of Flutter, sorry, basics of Dart and how Dart programming language is going to power the Flutter app. So, so if you have gone through this session, so this session will be the third session in the series of sessions. So this will be build your first Flutter app. So there are means to set up the agenda. Before setting up the agenda, so let me now turn off my camera because there will be an issue of bandwidth. Okay, so now going to the agenda. So uh, agenda for today's session is first we are going to the prerequisites of the session because this session has some prerequisites. Afterwards, we are going with the environment. What will be the requirement for the environment to get started with Flutter and Dart. Once the environment is set up, we are going to create an app in Flutter, and at fourth, we are going to see that code structure of an Flutter application. Because whenever we are starting with an application or we are starting with a language or a new framework, the code structure is of utmost important. And afterwards, there is some more things in there, and we'll explain in the next later. So going to the prerequisites, so there are two prerequisites for this that you have to go through the Dart session, which was our last session. Once you're familiar with Dart, you will get because in the last session we have discussed about classes, functions, and methods, everything. So once you're familiar with this session with that thing, then you can come to this session and look at into the actual depth of the Flutter and how the framework works and build apps. So next comes the point of setting up the environment. So for setting up the environment, this time we require three things. So I guess if you are familiar with Dart, so Dart is already installed in your computer. But the first thing is we want an code editor with you. So you can use any code editor, but for now, for timing purpose, and what we can say, and basic advice for everyone is that VS Code should be used in Flutter application development. Although there are some communities saying that Android Studio is better, but Android Studio was intended to be made for what do we say, the Android applications. But for Flutter, I would highly suggest to use VS Code. So one ID is required. So I have VS Code in with me, and I highly advise you to use VS Code. Secondly, Dart should be installed in your PC, and third is Flutter should be installed in your PC. So Dart is very easy. You have to just go and on Google and write Dart install, and there will be dependencies which will be helping you to install. And VS Code is similar to that. VS Code is very easy to install, but the main thing is how to install Flutter. So for that, let's go over the thing. So here we can see there's a website called as flutter.dev. If you go on flutter.dev and scroll down, you will go to the install tab. In the install tab, you have to look over. So if you're a Windows user or Mac user or any user, you have to select your OS. For example, I am a Windows user. So here every single detail how to install Flutter is given. You can directly download a zip file and extract it, or via command line or paths also you can do that. So it's a very simple process. Just the green ones you have to follow, and once it's done, you have to run Flutter Doctor to see if there are any issues. If there are any issues, Flutter will automatically solve it. So installation of Flutter is very easy. We are going to drop down this link at the end of the session to so that you can directly install the app or you can install Flutter. So if the installation is clear, so if the environment is set up, so what is required in environment is first you should have an IDE. Second is you should have a Dart installed in your PC or machine, and third is you should have installed Flutter in your machine. So installation of Flutter is simple. Just go on Flutter website or let's write on Google download Flutter, and we will be directed to the installation of Flutter page. Select your OS, and after selecting your OS, whichever method you are familiar with, directly downloading it or via the command lines, you can go from it and just download it. So as I told you, the installing of IDE, then installation of Dart, and installation of Flutter is required. So now creating an app. So now comes a major part of our this session is how to create an app. So talking about Flutter, so when you will open VS Code, this will be the very first thing which you will be having a look in the VS Code. So to make a Flutter application, there are two types. So it means in two ways from VS Code or any IDE we can make Flutter application. So first is the basic shortcut in the VS Code. You have to hit Control Shift and P to open the panel side of the panel of the VS Code, and at the top only you can see Flutter new project. If you have installed Flutter in your application, you can just click. So what I did was Control Shift P. Once I pressed Control Shift P, the open panel came up, and once I click on you can see that Flutter new project. So it will create a new project in Flutter. So click on Flutter new project. So now you have to decide, tell them that it is is it an application, it's a module, or a package, or a plugin, or skeleton. So let us go over everything one by one. So application is an app in Flutter. Application means whatever Android app or iOS. It's an application. It means an app in Flutter. Module means a complete set of instructions which are need to be run or which are helped to generate a project. So module is a upper version of application. So it can be helped to create different modules and different projects. So package is similar to that, but it generate a shareable Flutter project. For example, if I make a package and put it on the internet, anyone can use it. Plugin is also same, but plugin cannot be put it on the internet. It's an API kind of structure, and skeleton is just the skeleton to build an app in future also. So these are just the basics, but we are going to focus on application. We have to develop a Flutter application. So select an application, and you have to select an location. So I am going to go on the desktop and select the folder to find, and you have to give the name of the application. I will give the Flutter app. So once you click on enter, you will be redirected to a new window, and you have to just click on yes. I press the authors, and your Flutter application will be starting to create. There's another way also to create Flutter application via command line. We are also going to look at that. So, for example, if so, but first, don't get overwhelmed by this structure. I'm not going to even go over it. So, if you want to make an application, Flutter application via command line, so first open the command prompt. So, for example, if you want to make a Flutter application in this directory only in the Flutter app, so you have to just write Flutter create app and the name of the application. For example, new to application. So via this, you can also create an application, but you have to then change the directory to that application, and via the code editor, you have to go inside that and open that. So that's a bit cumbersome process, but it is also a working process. So you can do this also, or via even simple command Control Shift P, create a new Flutter project, and after creating a new Flutter project, you have to just select application and give it the name, and yes, your Flutter project is ready. So this was how we can create an app in Flutter. So coming to the next and most important part of today's presentation is how the code structure of a Flutter app is there. So you can see we have made a Flutter app. Name is also Flutter app. So there are few things which are built inside this. So we'll go over everything one by one. So the first thing is .dart tool. So this is a system generated copy of Dart tools, which is of no use to us because we should not edit this .dart tool because Flutter is interdependent on Dart. So Dart is actually powering Flutter. So if we are going to change anything here, so our configurations will be changing. Obviously, the version is the thing, which is Dart version. So we should not change this also because if we are even just trying to make a slight change, our directory structure will get changed. So the .dart tool is never used in development. Means if you will be developing an app for even 2 to 3 years, you won't be even touching this thing. .dart tool and .idea. So .idea is where the actual libraries which will be combined while the compiler will be storing. So this is also a thing which you should not show. So these two folders are there which are actually system generated and compiled folders. So you should not touch them. This folder will only means what do we say? This folders will only have the compiled things or the auto-generated things by the compiler. You should not touch on these folders. So the next two folders, Android and iOS. So Android and iOS are the two folders in which actual codes of your Android structure and iOS structure will be there. But surprisingly, here also we do not have to if you have any one of you have worked on Android Studio app or Android app, you might be familiar with this kind of structure. App is there, then source is there, then Java files in the main will be there. So this is the thing, but you can see that here generated plugin is there. So this is also an auto-generated code because when we'll be making a Flutter application, the Flutter app and the Flutter app will run also on iOS. So, for example, if we have made an app and we want to make it look a bit different in iOS and we want to make it look a bit different in Android, so that's the case when we have to make changes in Android wala file and iOS wala file. So, if you want to make a change in iOS, so you can go in iOS and you have to have a bit of knowledge of iOS. But this is never used. This is also never used. So, but you might be thinking that why Android and iOS folders are there. So, the main reason why Android and iOS folders are there that at some cases Android and iOS have their restrictions to the things which get compiled on them. So for example, when we are looking for the splash screen, splash screen is the front screen, what we see while developing an app. So whenever we are looking at a splash screen, so if we want to make a splash screen in Android, we have to make it differently. In iOS, we have to make it differently. So via common code, we are not able to form that. So in like that cases, we have to use this Android and iOS wala thing. So Android and iOS are means if you have made a code and if you have means you have the app ready and you have to make some changes in Android and some changes in iOS, you can use that thing. But for this, you have to have a basic knowledge of both of the languages. But the main thing which our today's focus will be the lib folder. Inside the lib folder only, every single what do we say? The code file will be there. So whenever we are what do we say? Uh, Coding things, we have to keep everything inside the lib folder. So whatever we are going to code, it is going to be inside the lib folder. So once the first thing inside the lib folder will be an auto-generated app. So you won't believe that there's I don't say it's 100 lines of code because 50 to 60 lines are only commented. So this 20 to 30 lines of code is an app for you. So that is very simple. We are going to go over everything here, what's written here and how to understand that. But the point is, I am going to explain it. What I am trying to convey is inside the lib folder only we are going to be there every time. Whatever means whichever coding task we are doing, it will be inside the lib folder. So lib folder is where actually we are going to code the Flutter app in that language. So test folder is for having your test widgets ready. For example, widget test.dart. So uh, if you want to, if in a what do we say, in a production ready application, we cannot directly deploy anything. If you want to deploy something, we have to first run unit test, then integration test, and then regression test also. So this is where you can write your tests and directly, if you can see here, run button is there, a simple unit of test will be run. So this is an means this is a higher level concept if you are going to the production level app, because in starting we are not going to use any tests. But if you are interested in this also, you can make, there is a dedicated widget for that. So dedicated folder for that. If you can write tests here. And this is a different study. This is a different kind of study, how to write tests, unit test, TDD, how to means use test driven development and everything. But to be giving an information about your project, so the test folder is where you can write your tests. So don't get overrun by this also, because this is also very new to you. So next folder comes is web. As we know that from Flutter 2.0 we can make beautiful web applications also. So like Android and iOS, their web is also there. But here's the thing, that we should not make any changes in this index.html. So the Flutter app automatically converts itself in index file, or what do we say, HTML file. So in case if you want to make any changes, means slight changes, so we have to look here very carefully what do we need to change, because exact code is not copied here. If we are using any interdependency in the web application, for example, if you are using Firebase, if you are using MongoDB, so like that thing we need to include in the index file, because HTML is not able to auto configure that. So, for example, if you are making a web app using Flutter, so you have to, if you are using a web app using Flutter, making a web app using Flutter, and you want to use Firebase, so dependency should be injected in this index.html file. It's not very that how to inject that. That is very easy, and documentation is ready for everything. But web folder is means your deployed folder. For example, if I am complete with my development, although the development will be in the lib folder only for web, for Android, for iOS, for all the things, development will be in the lib folder only. But if you want to just what do we say, deploy your app, so what folder or which folder you are going to give to the deployer. So for example, if you want to deploy on GitHub, so this is the thing, the web folder, you have to copy everything inside the web folder and put it on the client. So when you give this web folder on the client, or when you upload this web folder, the compiler, the uploader, or the what do we say, the deployer will understand that yes, this is the code and we need to deploy that, and the website will be deployed. So deploying also is made very easy by Flutter. Just you need to copy this folder and paste it where we need to deploy it, and you need to follow the basic process and the app will get deployed. So, and one more thing, one more point on deployment here, that when you are deploying the web application, it's not like that we are making a change in main dot dart and directly it will be reflected here. There's a command known as create web project in Flutter. You have to run that thing, and afterward it get updated, because it is not possible to compiler for update for every single change, because it will cause very huge amount of memory. So, for example, if you have made a major change in main dot dart, you have to just write what is Flutter create web app, for sorry, Flutter create web, and the actual web thing, whatever files and dependencies are required will come here and just use this folder and go on any of the, what do we say, the deployer site, whichever you are familiar with, and you can just post it there and it will be automatically deployed. The next thing is Windows. So, for example, as we have told, like for Android, there's a thing, for iOS, there's a thing, for web, there's a thing. So, similarly for Windows, there's a thing. Earlier in earlier in the Flutter versions, the Windows folder was not there because Windows Flutter was not supporting to its max to Windows. But now, as we see that the applications are so, means the Flutter is so versatile that it can support Windows also. So if you want to make some Windows specific change, for example, if you are working on an application, although the code will be in main.dart only, but if any specific change related to Windows is there, you can directly just uh, come in the Windows folder, and if you know some Windows coding in C++ or in whichever language it is, so it's in text and CC language. So if you know that kind of thing, and yes, in Windows there are some complications while making the thing, so you might require this thing. So if you are want to make any Windows specific change, you can make this. So to cut this story short, you should understand that in the main, actual code will be there. In the Android, specific auto-generated code related to Android will be there. In iOS, auto-generated code related to iOS will be there. And web and Windows, auto-generated code for web and Windows will be there. So you can see the power of the thing. By just a one file, main.dart, all the things are generated and all the things will be working on all the compilers. So this is what the power of reactive, or what we say, Flutter programming is. So next come is file is .get ignored. So this is very Git specific. Whatever files we have to ignore in this. So this is metadata packages. These are just the package and metadata files which are auto means these are also auto generated. But the main files which comes here is that pubspec.yaml. So this is the core of your project. So YAML language, it's not actually you do not need to learn YAML YAML language, but this file is where you are going to spend your time while making a Flutter project. So there are two things where you are going to spend your time while making a Flutter project. So first thing is the libswala folder, inside which the main.dart will be there, and inside which all the code structure and code directories will be there. And the second is pubspec.yaml. So why pubspec.yaml is important? Because this is where various specifications of the app is there. For example, if it's my app, so what's the name of my app? The name is Flutter app. So what's the description of my app? This is the description of my app. Are we going to publish it to somewhere? If no, so it's already pre-written. And if you are going to publish it somewhere, you have to click here. So documentation for everything is very precisely and nicely presented here. So what is the version of our app? So it is 1.0.0 plus 1, means the 0 and 1 pre-built version is going on. So you can change this according to you. So what environment we are using? We are using Flutter 2.6.1 to Flutter 3.0.0. So till from 2.6.16.1 to 3.0.0, the Flutter applications will be supported here. So these are the kind of things which are to be which are there in pubspec.yaml. But the more important thing which is there is, for example, if you want to use any external what do we say, external dependency or external plugin. So how are you going to do that? So for doing that, it's very simple. Just you can see here dependencies section. So in the dependencies section, you can see dev dependencies there and dependencies is there. So dev dependencies and dependencies both are same thing, but just the dependencies which are in the development version, that only can be put in the dev dependencies section. For example, so what are dependencies first? So dependencies are the thing which we are going to use or which our app is dependent on. So for example, we are using Cupertino icons. So we are just writing Cupertino icons and the version of the Cupertino icons which we are going to use. So why this is required? Because in earlier sessions, while going through the earlier sessions, we have already gone that there are packages in Flutter that we can directly import that. So for example, Cupertino is a uh, is a package which is developed by some other person. So, but for now, it is developed by a Flutter community. So we can use that. So all the possibilities of Cupertino will be getting here. Hello, I'm audible. Yes, yes, yes. So bandwidth cut was there. So Cupertino icons is the dependencies which was made by the Flutter dev, and you are using it. So for example, if you want to use HTTP, so you are just write. So from where you can get that? So you have to just write HTTP and the version of that, whatever it is. I am writing it dummy, but this is not like that. You have to go on pub.dev. So we are also going to show that how to use dependencies. Just in a minute, just I'll go through it everything. So this is the thing. This is the pre-recorded thing. If you want to use any assets, so you have to uncommit this. So everything is written here. Just you have to understand. Means you have to read this documentation. You will get familiar with this. So this is the file where all the dependencies or the dependencies injection will be there. So the main point was now we are not going to develop everything from scratch. For example, if you want to use HTTP package, so what we are going to do is we are just going we have to go on Google and write uh, pub.dev. So this is the thing from where you can get any package. This is officially by Flutter, and here from here you can get any package. So you have to just write whatever package you need. For example, HTTP. So you can click on HTTP and you can click on installing, and you can just see here you have written in dependency HTTP. This you have to just copy this thing and you have to paste it here. And Control H if you press, it will be auto loading it. So Flutter pubget is running, and once it will be done, yeah. So HTTP is with us. So now we can use anything which is you means from HTTP we can use anything. So this is the power of Flutter, because if in any other language you have to just run the script and take the jar files and put it inside it, turn down the metadata, put some dependencies inside it. But yeah, here you have to just copy and paste the thing whichever you're going to use, and you should know the how to use HTTP package. Now, but we do not require it here, so we are just implementing it and control as again pub.give is running. If there are any issues, it will show up, and if there are not, so it's okay. So the setup of the Flutter app is okay. So now excited for coding, but before going to coding, now the main part of the project. There are three main parts: first, making an application, going to the web structure, and now actually what is written in the first main.dart language. But before going to that, I'm just starting my mobile compiler so that we should be able to see the app also what it's doing. So I'll start this. Till the time it's starting, we'll go over this. So as we are familiar with Dart, so this is the main program from which the application will be running. So we have already seen that from where do our application start. So it starts from the main program. I'll just till that time I'll be starting it also. Okay, so from here it is a main program, and here from here the application starts. So you should not make changes here because this is an preloaded code, and from here only app will start. So run app is a command, or it is an what do we say binding in Flutter or in the framework with Dart, so that this my app can start. So whatever inside the run app is there, it will be getting built. So now comes the important part. So this import is just we need to import material dot, and this is everything is auto imported. You do not need to worry about that. So major thing which is now needed to be understand that everything in Flutter is a widget. If you talk about a screen is a widget, a small image is a widget, a text is a widget, a app itself is a widget. Everything in Flutter is a widget. So whenever I'm telling you a widget, it's an object in Flutter, because there's a very famous statement: everything is in Flutter is a widget. So why people are saying like that? Because there might be a thing why it's a widget. So the funda behind this is that they wanted to make a single layer architecture from which you can build anything. So they thought that we will make everything as a widget, and you can use widget in any way possible. So it gives us a very big flexibility when we are making applications. For example, so this run app is using my app class. So my app is also in widget. So means we are building in widget, and widget is an app, right? So we have written my class which extends the stateless widget, and after writing the stateless widget, we can see that this is in constant signature or the constructor which will be formed. This if we can remove this also, no worries. But then constant we have to remove. Okay, so this is the thing. So my app has been built. So override build method. So this is also auto generated. You have to just build the method, and whatever we are returning from this method, which is the thing which is getting returned by the compiler, and this is getting built. So we are writing in material app. So material app again is a widget, because we are already we can see that the build method is returning a widget. So material app is a widget. So material app, what is a widget? This is the very basic structure which is Flutter has made for us, in which just we have to put things. For example, what's the title of our app? Flutter demo. What's the theme of our app? Theme data is a widget. What is the theme data? Primary swatch color is blue. So you can see that in the Flutter app. So when I start the Flutter app, you can see that here. So don't look at this home constant, because these are the things which we are going to learn in the next session or the upcoming session. What are actually widgets and how we can use widgets. But now just think about that. The build method is building the thing. It's returning a material app. So this is an app which is going to be returned by the app by the method build. This is the title, Flutter demo. This is the theme data. What is the theme data? The theme data is means whatever themes which are required. So we can change this to any extent. We can use gradient color. We can use list colors. We can use basic color, solid colors. Any color we can use, and just if we put blue to red, and it will be converted to red. So, so this is how the app is built in Flutter. So the basic structure for every app in Flutter will be same. My app will be extending the stateless widget, and this theme data you have to provide it. If you want to change the color, you can just change the color. Afterward, the main part is what is inside this. So inside this is in my homepage. So my homepage, what is means home means see, material app was an actual app ka structure, the structure of the app which Flutter has provided, but inside it we need to have our things. So our thing is the homepage. So homepage is also in class, which in stateful widget. So we have now seen two things: stateless widget and stateful widget. So what are these things? So a stateless widget is the widget which do not have a state, means which cannot change. It's a static thing. Just to make it simplified, it's in static thing. Stateless widget is a static thing which cannot be changed. Stateful widget is having a state and which can be changed. So why this is stateless and why this is stateful? The reason is simple, that the material app should not change, and the stateful, that the thing which is inside the app should be interactive with the user. So therefore, we are using the stateful widget. We can even use stateless widget also, but we are using stateful because we need to change an app. If you want to know change nothing on the app, you can just use stateless widget. So these are the two things which we have to extend for everything to make it as a widget. So when you extend this, then and only then you will get an what do we say, build method. So you can build this. So we won't be going inside this how this thing is written, but this was the main motive of this session, was that how the app is built and how you can start with the what do we say, the development process. So whatever you have to change or you have to develop, it is that inside my homepage. Inside the my homepage will be the actual development of the thing will be happening. So inside thing, a lot of complexities are there. Not that complex. Once we go over all the widgets, we are going to see how it's going to work. But this was overall the code directory structure of the app and how the thing is built, what is a widget, and why everything is a widget, stateless widget, stateful widget. And nextly, when we'll be actually seeing the widgets and how to build an actual application, this will be the thing. But to be honest, this is a boilerplate code. So what is a boilerplate code means? Means inside the plate you have just given everything. Just you have to use it and change this thing. So once you get familiar with it, you can just remove everything and just make your own application. So yeah, so this was all about today's session. We covered everything in the agenda, I guess. So we just started with the prerequisite to session. Afterwards, we went on how to install the things. We'll be providing the link shortly. How to means how to actually install Dart, Flutter, then how to build an application. And in the Flutter, then we went over the directory structure of the Flutter, and at finally we just saw how to build our first app, which was very basic, which was actually not built by us, but built by Flutter. But this is very important when we are looking at any language, should to know what is the directory structure and what is where. Because when you will be making an application, you will be like fumble that this is very big thing. But actually, when we skim down it, just we need to change in two files: the lib file and the YAML file. The YAML file was also not used much. The lib file was only used. So in the lib folder, actual development for everything will be there. So this was about this session from my side. If any questions are there, please ask. Are there any questions? Let me go to the chat box. So the link has been pasted here only by Rohit.
Sahil, I just had a doubt regarding Flutter.
Yes, Rohit, please.
So, actually, I am a React developer. So everything in React is a component. So
Yes.
does it mean that widget and component are same? Is there any relation or is there any similarity between them?
Yes, yes, yes. So when we talk about React actually, when Flutter was built by the Google developers, their main motive was to compete with React or make a thing which is some similar to React, but will be used for development and different purposes. So yeah, you can say that components are very analogous to widgets, but the functionalities can be different because we cannot different means what do we say? We cannot actually compare the functionalities, but the main thought process behind this was this only, that component should be means the components in what components are to React will be the widget to Flutter, because everything I guess in React is component and everything is Flutter is a widget. Yeah,
Yep.
both are analogous.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking this. Okay, I see a question in the. Can you go over the widget concept once more? Yes, for sure, Aditya. So, when we talk about widgets in Flutter, so for example, any language should have its basic component. So, for example, in React, as Rohit asked a question, basic component of React is so basic thing of React is a component. So everything in React is built by component. So different components meet together to form a screen, different screens, or again a component meet together to form an app. So in Flutter also everything is a widget. So what is a widget? Widget is whatever thing you can imagine in Flutter, a text, a color, everything is a widget. So you can combine different widgets and make a simple screen or make a simple app. Even app is also a widget in Flutter. So the hierarchy is this: you combine small widgets, make a medium widget. To combine medium widgets, you make a screen. You combine screen again a widget to make an app. And app also it's a big widget. So widget is in, what do we say? For example, I'll give an analogy in biology that cells inside our body are the basic unit of life. From cells we it becomes tissue, tissue becomes organ, and organ becomes finally a system, and system becomes human. Like that, small widgets become big widgets, and widgets combine to become screen, and screen becomes an app. So like this, you can come analogy to that also, if that makes sense. So widget is concept of widget is like this in Flutter. I hope I'm clarifying it out, Aditya. Thanks for asking that. Yeah. So talking about the ready-made widgets in Flutter, so yeah, when we went over this pub.dev, everything, if you want to find anything here, you can just write here, and the packages are already ready. For example, if we just write Web3, which is a very new technology which is coming inside, you can see Web3's every single package in Web3. You can connect with wallet, anything. So there are actual, what do we say? Widgets ready which we want to use, and inside also the Flutter package, it comes with a powerful amount of widgets so that you should not require any other widget. Yeah, but there are actual widgets. Yeah, any other questions from anyone?
I guess that's it.
Okay.
I think we are done.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
should I close it down for today then?
Yes. Thanks,
Yep.
Aditya and Rohit, for asking the questions, and thank you everyone for attending the session.
Thank you, Sahil. Thank you, Aditya. Good day. Bye.
Good day. Bye bye.